Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into something crucial for anyone raising or caring for kids.
Yeah, we're looking at how we can help children not just get through tough times, but actually build resilience and confidence because of them.
And our guide for this is a really fascinating book, Trauma Proofing Your Kids, a parent's guide for instilling confidence, joy, and resilience. It's by Peter Levine and Maggie Klein.
Really offers a different lens, I think.
It does. The core idea, it challenges how we usually think about trauma. It's not just the huge, obvious events like, violence or abuse.
Right. The authors argue that trauma can also stem from really common things, ordinary life stuff.
Like what?
Well, things like accidents, maybe a bad fall off a bike or necessary medical stuff, even divorce, things that happen to a lot of kids.
So events we might dismiss as just part of growing up could actually be overwhelming for a child's system.
That's the key insight. But, and this is important, the book isn't just doom and gloom. It says parents can learn real practical skills.
Skills to help kids navigate these things, to stop them from becoming like lasting issues.
Exactly, to prevent that overwhelm from leaving scars.
Okay, so our mission today is to unpack that. We want to understand, based on the book, how trauma works in kids, what it looks like.
And, most importantly, give you some concrete hands-on tools you can actually use. Tools drawn right from Levine and Klein's work.
Tools to help kids build that inner strength, that ability to bounce back.
Let's start with the definition of trauma itself. The book is very specific here.
Okay.
It emphasizes that trauma isn't located in the event. It's in the nervous system's response to the event.
That feels like a really big shift. So less about what happened.
And much more about what happens inside the child's body and nervous system as a result.
Makes sense.
You see, our bodies have these incredible hardwired survival instincts deep in the primitive brain.
The fight or flight stuff?
Right, fight or flight. When we perceive a threat, the body instantly mobilizes this huge surge of energy. Think adrenaline rush.
Like when you hear stories of parents lifting cars off kids, that kind of energy?
Precisely that kind of extraordinary energy.
Yeah.
It's preparing the body to fight back or run away, to survive.
But the book talks a lot about the freeze response too, especially with children.
Ah, yes, freeze. It's often misunderstood. From the outside, the child might look completely still, inert, maybe floppy, maybe rigid.
But inside?
Inside, physiologically, everything is still on full charge. All that survival energy is still there, primed and ready.
But it's stuck because they couldn't fight or flee.
Exactly. The action got blocked. And young kids, well, they often can't realistically fight or escape, so they're more likely to default to freeze.
So the energy is mobilized, but it has nowhere to go.
And here's the absolute crux of the book's argument. To avoid being traumatized, that excess energy has to be discharged. It needs to be used up somehow.
And if it isn't, if they stay frozen or the situation ends before they can shake it off.
If it's not fully discharged, it doesn't just vanish, it stays in the system. The book calls it body memory.
Body memory, like the body remembers the feeling of needing to act but not being able to.
Kind of, yeah. It's a physiological readiness, an incomplete action pattern. And that residue, that undischarged energy, holds the potential for trauma symptoms later on.
Ah, so that could explain things like anxiety or maybe jumpiness or even physical symptoms that show up weeks or months after an event that seemed minor at the time.
That's the mechanism they describe. The system is still holding on to that charge.
And does everyone react the same way?
No, vulnerability varies a lot. Age is a big factor, early bonding experiences, any previous trauma, even genetics.
So younger kids are actually more vulnerable, even to common things.
Yes, infants and young children, because they have less ability to move, fewer coping skills, they can be more easily overwhelmed by things an older child might just brush off.
Okay, so resilience isn't just being tough. It's something else.
Right. The authors see resilience as the ability to spring back. It shows up as openness, being able to express feelings, having good boundaries.
And being able to kind of move through bad stuff.
Yes, especially when they have support. Resilience, crucially, is built. It's built by helping the child's system complete those interrupted responses, discharge the stuck energy, and come back to a healthy balance.
Which leads us right to the parent's role. The book seems to say it's absolutely vital.
Imperative is the word they use. A safe, attuned adult is essential for a child to resolve these potentially traumatic experiences.
Whether the child is hyper-aroused or shut down?
Yes, in either state, the parent's guidance is needed. And parents who learn these skills, they can spot kids at risk and really help prevent long-term problems.
And it starts with the parent regulating themselves first, right?
Absolutely. You can't really attune to your child if you're not attuned to your own inner state. Your calm is contagious.
How so? Through words.
Less through words, actually.
Yeah.
More through your body language, your tone of voice, the look in your eyes. Your regulated nervous system non-verbally communicates safety to their nervous system.
So step one isn't fixing the kid, it's grounding yourself.
Exactly. And a key skill for this, for both parent and child, is learning what the book calls the language of sensation.
Language of sensation, what does that mean?
It's different from thoughts or emotions. It's the direct signals from the body-brain. Things like pressure, temperature, vibrations, butterflies, tightness, trembling, tingling, heat, coolness.
The raw physical feelings.
Yes. Learning to notice this language in yourself and then help your child notice it in themselves is fundamental for self-regulation.
Okay, this is making sense. Let's get practical. The book talks about emotional first aid. What is that?
It's a set of steps, really useful right after something happens, like an accident or a fall.
Yeah.
But the principles apply more broadly, too.
Okay, walk us through it. What's the first step?
First, always, check your own body. Notice your fear, your shock. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground.
Settle yourself, like the oxygen mask on the plane.
Exactly. Settle yourself first so your fear doesn't amplify theirs. Then second, offer calm reassurance.
With your voice.
Yes, a steady, confident tone. Let them know you're there, they're safe now, you'll help them.
Okay. Calm presence, calm voice. Then what?
Third, guide their attention gently to body sensations, but only as the initial shock starts to fade.
How do you know when that is?
You might see signs like color returning to their face.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe their breathing deepens, tears might start, or just a flicker of awareness.
And then you ask about sensations.
Softly, yes.
Mm.
How does your body feel inside right now? You can repeat what they say as a question.
Hmm.
Shaky. Where do you feel shaky?
Getting specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does your tummy feel? Your head. If they name a sensation, ask about it. Where's that feeling? Is it big or small? Does it have a shape, a color, heavy or light?
You're helping them describe the indescribable, almost.
Kind of. You're grounding them in the present moment sensation.
Mm-hmm.
How does that shaky feeling feel right now? If they can't talk, they can point.
So you're tuning them into that body language we talked about, making it concrete.
Precisely. Helping them notice what's happening inside as their system processes.
Mm.
Fourth, and this is key, slow way down. Follow their pace.
Patience is needed.
Huge patience.
Mm.
After you ask about a sensation, wait, maybe a minute, even two. Just quiet presence.
Why the silence?
It allows their internal physiological cycles time to engage and complete. You absolutely cannot rush this. Your calm waiting tells their system it's safe to release the energy.
Giving the body time to finish its process.
Exactly. And watch for the signs of completion. A deep sigh, maybe the crying or trembling just stops naturally. A yawn, a stretch, color returns, maybe even a little smile. Or they start looking around again, making eye contact.
You're looking for the shift?
Yeah, seeing if that wave is passed. Or if another one is starting. And the final step.
Yes.
Validate their physical responses. This is so important. Don't try to stop the tears or the shaking.
But isn't that our instinct? To make it stop?
It often is. But the book argues those are healthy release mechanisms. Remind them the scary thing is over, they're safe now. Frame crying or shaking as the body's smart way of letting the scared energy out.
So like, that's okay. Let it shake out.
Exactly. Simple words. Gentle touch if it feels right and is welcomed. That's right. Just let the scary stuff shake right out of you. You're supporting the body's wisdom.
That feels very different from distracting them or telling them don't cry.
It is. You're working with the body's natural healing process. And the authors stress, even if professional help is needed later for bigger things, these first aid skills can make a huge difference right away in reducing stress.
Okay, beyond that immediate first aid, the book talks about other tools. Play, art, rhymes. How do those fit in?
These are powerful, natural ways kids process difficult stuff and discharge that stuck energy over time, often without needing words.
And it mentions guided play specifically. What's the difference?
Yeah, they contrast it with traumatic play, where a kid might just replay a scary scene over and over without it ever resolving. Guided play is different.
How so?
The parent or therapist gently supports the child in renegotiating the event within the play, helping them introduce elements of safety or power or escape that were missing the first time. But always, always following the child's lead and pace.
Can you give an example? The book mentions Sammy.
Yes, Sammy had a scary time getting stitches, became controlling, hyperactive, classic signs of that stuck energy. His parents helped him use his Pooh Bear.
So Pooh Bear went through the scary thing.
In a safe, controlled way, directed by Sammy, the parents helped hold the space, maybe offered a magic shield for Pooh. Sammy, through Pooh, got to master the fear. Maybe Pooh even fought back a little or ran away successfully.
Ah, so Sammy got to rewrite the ending through play.
Exactly. And the sense of triumph he showed afterwards, that signaled resolution. He'd completed the cycle symbolically.
That makes so much sense. Using play to complete the physiological story.
Absolutely. Puppets, drawing, even just spontaneous make-believe games can do this. They offer psychological distance. Kids can play out hiding, fighting, escaping, letting that bound-up energy move.
So if you see a child repeatedly playing out scary themes,
Pay attention. It's likely their way of trying to process it. Gentle support might be needed.
what about art? Especially for kids who are a bit older.
Art is fantastic. Just looking openly at a child's drawing can tell you so much. The book suggests a few things.
Like what?
Simple free-form drawing, maybe using colors for feelings, or sensation body maps.
Body maps.
Trace their body outline, then use colors or symbols to show where they feel things. Maybe red for anger in the fists, blue for sadness in the chest, shaky lines for fear in the legs. Helps connect feelings to body locations.
Making the internal visible. I like that.
Yeah. Another one is drawing a worry on one paper and its opposite, something comforting or strong on another. Talk about both. Then cover the worry with the opposite picture and see how that feels.
Oh, that's clever. Using imagery to shift the feeling.
And also drawing pictures of resources, things, people, places, or inner qualities that make them feel safe and strong. Reinforces their coping tools.
These all sound like ways to externalize and work with difficult feelings. What about rhymes and movement?
Super important for building body awareness and resources. There's the magic in me tree exercise.
Being a tree.
Imagining being a strong tree, roots deep, branches high. Or a flowing river, feeling connected, grounded, strong. Focusing on feeling their feet on the floor. You can even gently press on their feet to enhance that rooted feeling.
Helping them feel physically solid when things feel shaky.
Exactly. And games like Coyote Chases Rabbit, passing balls faster and faster.
Is that about competition?
Not at all. It's about feeling the sensation of excitement, anticipation, speed, working together, feeling the power of movement and escape in a fun way, building that motor memory of competence.
And there were rhymes for the freeze response. Oscar a possum.
Yes, those are great because they validate freezing. Frame it as a smart thing animals do, like playing dead.
So it's not shameful or weak.
Right. By pretending to freeze like Oscar, then consciously noticing the sensations as they let go and start to move again, it helps them understand and move through their own freeze states without fear. There's a story about a girl, Dory, who froze after a bike fall. Normalizing it was key.
Reframing freeze as smart survival. That's powerful.
It helps the system feel safe enough to then release the energy.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. The book applies these ideas to specific situations, like medical trauma. Hospitals can be scary.
Incredibly so. Unfamiliar place, strange sounds, procedures they don't understand, maybe pain, waking up alone. It's a recipe for overwhelm.
The book even mentions a doctor comparing hospitalized kids to shell-shocked soldiers.
Yes, Dr. David Levy back in the 1940s. It highlights how impactful these experiences can be.
So, besides the emotional first aid, what else can parents do for medical situations?
For emergencies, after settling yourself, keep reassuring. Prepare them simply and honestly for what's next. The doctor needs to look at your arm. This might feel cold.
And for planned procedures.
Preparation is everything. Explain step by step, age appropriately. Use dolls or drawings. Involve them in choices which pajamas to wear, maybe touching safe equipment beforehand.
Giving them some sense of control.
Exactly. During procedures, distraction can help bubbles, a story, squeezing a ball. But also empower their protective responses.
Like how?
Like playing push hands during a shot. Lets them feel their strength push back instead of just feeling overpowered.
Okay. And for teens?
Treat them like people. Introduce the doctor to them. Encourage questions. Let them express feelings. Help them advocate for themselves. Suggest comfort items, music, their own pillow, maybe a notepad for questions.
Really practical tips.
And the book makes a very strong point about the medical system itself.
Which is?
The pediatric staff need to understand trauma. And crucially, no child should be held down and forced through a procedure or anesthesia while terrified. That's actively traumatizing.
That's a bold statement against potentially standard practices.
It is. But they highlight positive examples too, like hospitals with child-friendly designs, child life specialists, places that prioritize reducing fear and pain. That's real prevention. Parents can advocate for this.
Another big one the book covers is separation, divorce, grief, complex territory.
Very. And the book draws a really important distinction between grief symptoms and trauma symptoms.
How are they different?
Grief is often sadness, maybe anger, crying. It tends to lessen over time with comfort and release. Trauma symptoms can be more like flashbacks, jumpiness, numbness, spaciness, maybe aggression, and they might worsen if untreated. Trauma needs that physiological discharge we talked about.
Understanding that difference must be huge for parents.
It really is. Divorce often involves both grief and potential trauma. While people debate long-term effects, the book argues parents can lessen the harm significantly by being conscious co-parents, helping kids through the shock and grief.
What parts of divorce are particularly tough for kids?
The initial announcement, a parent moving out, the back and forth custody stuff, adjusting to two homes, eventually maybe remarriage. These are big shifts.
And decisions about custody need to focus on the child's needs, right? Not just parents' convenience.
Absolutely. Kids generally need good, consistent contact with both parents, and it's vital parents don't badmouth each other that really hurts the child.
What about those common kid fantasies? Like thinking they caused it or that the parents will get back together.
Yeah, that magical thinking,
Yeah.
especially around ages 4 to 11, it needs gentle but clear reality checks. And the fear that the other parent might leave too, that's huge. Reliable contact with both parents is the best antidote.
And helping them feel like they live in both houses, not just visit.
Yes, having their own space, their own things in both places, and constant reassurance. Parents divorce each other, not their kids.
How do you help with the grief part?
Provide a safe space for all the feelings, sadness, anger, confusion, even guilt. The book mentions the stages of grief, but notes you might need to address the shock or trauma first.
The story about Rachel grieving her cat, Briar, was really touching.
It shows how kids process grief non-linearly. Rachel needed physical outlets, like dunking her head in water. She needed laughter mixed with tears. She pendulated between pain and play. It also showed the importance of processing everything, even guilt or regret, like the missed bargaining stage.
So allowing the whole messy process.
Yes, and listening without judging or trying to fix it immediately. And crucially, parents need to deal with their own divorce-related grief and trauma, get their own support, and not lean on the kids. Reassure them it won't hurt this badly forever. Check in regularly about feelings.
Okay, widening the lens again. Community crises. Natural disasters, violence. How can parents help then?
Parents can be organizers, using these same principles in group settings.
What kind of symptoms might you see after something like that?
Sleep problems, eating changes, irritability, spaciness, numbness, headaches, stomach aches, maybe flashbacks, clinginess, worry. The somatic experiencing approach used in crises like after the tsunami focuses on symptom relief through sensation and resources, not endlessly retelling the horrible details.
So focusing on the aftermath in the body.
Exactly, asking about current difficulties, like the boy, Curtis, who saw a shooting and wanted to kick everyone.
Right, he didn't talk about the shooting much.
No, the intervention guided him through slow-motion kicking, feeling the sensations, allowing his body to complete that blocked defensive action. The shaking and trembling that followed was the energy discharging. His aggression then eased.
Wow. Completing the physical impulse released the trauma.
That's the idea, completing the body's forwarded defense. Group games used in places like Thailand facilitated this too. Coyote chases rabbit, feeling speed and escape. Pretend jump rope, pantomiming jumping over a threat.
Giving the body symbolic ways to feel powerful and successful.
Yes, discharging anxiety, restoring competence, and monitoring kids afterward, using grounding if needed, normalizing different reactions.
Were there specific tips for running those groups?
Yeah, involve parents, sit in circles, use big fitness balls to help kids feel their bodies, explain trauma responses simply, have helpers provide gentle support, always focus on sensation.
Okay, nearly there. The book wraps up with a few other important points. Shame.
Yes, distinguishes healthy shame, learning boundaries, from toxic shame, damaging self-worth, how to navigate this in toddlerhood, limits versus you're bad, the 4 or 6-year-old flirtation stage, boundaries without shaming sexuality.
And teens revisiting some of this, needing boundaries but also acceptance.
Exactly, and bullying often targets vulnerable kids, sometimes those with unresolved trauma. Bully-proofing involves body awareness, boundaries, trauma prevention.
And the crucial topic of sexual trauma prevention.
A difficult but vital one. The book stresses it's usually someone known. Prevention is about teaching body rights. Your body belongs to you. Ensuring kids know they'll be believed that it's never their fault.
And trusting their gut.
Yes, teaching them to recognize that uh-oh feeling, that felt sense, as a warning. And having a clear plan. Say no, get away. Tell a trusted adult, expect support. Use concrete, age-appropriate examples.
And practicing saying no in everyday life matters.
Hugely. If kids aren't allowed to say no to small things, food, clothes, they learn not to trust their instincts or assert boundaries. That's dangerous.
That makes sense. Why don't kids tell sometimes?
Fear, shame, loyalty, conflicts. The story of Jenny feeling icky around her uncle long before anything happened shows why parents need to trust those subtle cues from kids.
And physical activity helps too.
Definitely. Sports, martial arts, just running around helps counter learned helplessness, builds physical confidence and agency.
Wow. This deep dive really underscores that trauma isn't just about the big T events. It's about how any overwhelming experience lands in the nervous system.
And the hopeful message is that parents have real power here. Understanding the body's language, using emotional first aid, play, art, movement. These are real tools to help kids process, discharge that stuck energy, and build genuine resilience.
So resilience isn't predetermined. It really grows out of that supportive relationship, having a calm adult guide you through the tough sensations.
Exactly. Helping the system find its way back to balance.
And a final thought for everyone listening. It strikes me that these principles aren't just for kids.
That's a really interesting point.
I mean, if tuning into subtle body sensations helps children process overwhelm, could we as adults benefit from that too? From paying more attention to our own language of sensation when navigating stress.
Could learning to pendulate, like the book describes, for kids moving between comfort and discomfort, letting things discharge help us build resilience? It suggests this deep instinctual wisdom for healing might be right there in our own bodies, just waiting for us to listen.